Hello and welcome to Excel Mathematics TV. For today's presentation, we will be talking about quotient of powers. In order to simplify quotient of powers, we need to know its definition first. So, what exactly do we mean when we say quotient of powers? If we're going to represent it as an equation, we can say that a raised to m over a raised to n is equal to a raised to m minus n, where a is any number and m and n are integers. Putting it to words, it means that when we are dividing powers with the same base, we just need to subtract their exponents. Say, for example, the expression 3 raised to 5 over 3 raised to 2 have the same base, which is 3. Take note, a fraction also means division, so we express our example in fraction form. The exponents are 5 and 2, so we will just subtract them. 5 minus 2 is 3. So the exponent of the final answer should be 3, and just copy the base of the given. Therefore, the answer is 3 cubed. In order to understand the concept even more, let's solve some more examples. We will simplify the following expressions using the quotient of powers. But before anything else, always keep this in mind. The quotient of powers can only be used if the bases are the same. Otherwise, we can't apply the concept. Let's simplify n raised to 10 over n raised to 4. Let's check if the bases are the same. They do have the same base, which is n, so we can proceed straight to subtracting the exponents. That is n raised to 10 minus 4. Be careful when subtracting the exponents, because 10 minus 4 is different from 4 minus 10. And always remember that the exponent of the numerator, or the dividend, will be the minuend, and the other will be the subtrahend. I'm sure you all know that 10 minus 4 is 6. So the answer is n raised to the 6th power, or simply n raised to 6. That's it. We got the answer. Pretty easy, right? Thus, n raised to 10 over n raised to 4 is equal to n raised to 6. Let's move on to the next example. We have the expression, the product of 3 raised to 6, 4 squared, and 5 raised to 7, over the product of 3 raised to 4, 4 and 5 raised to 6. This time, we have different bases, but we still have 3 pairs of powers with the same base. So, how can we simplify it? We will first group by common base. After grouping, we have the product of 3 raised to 6 over 3 raised to 4, 4 squared over 4 to the 1, and 5 raised to 7 over 5 raised to 6. Note that we put 1 as the exponent of the denominator 4. That is because if a number has no written exponent, it is understood that the exponent is 1. The next step is to subtract the exponents. 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 7 minus 6 is 1. So the expression will become 3 squared times 4 raised to the 1 times 5 raised to 1. Since any number raised to 1 is equal to the number itself, we will just square 3 and multiply it by 4 and 5. The square of 3 is 9, so we have 9 times 4 times 5. The product is 180. Thus, the product of 3 raised to 6, 4 squared, and 5 raised to 7, over the product of 3 raised to 4, 4, and 5 raised to 6 is 180. Next, we have 15w raised to the 8 over 5w. In order to save some work, let's simplify the coefficients 15 and 5 before dividing the powers. Using the GCF of 15 and 5, which is 5, the coefficients will become 3 and 1. Then the expression is now 3w raised to the 8 over w. Now that the expression is simplified, we can proceed to the next step, which is subtracting the exponents. 8 minus 1 is 7. So the answer is 3w raised to the 7. And that's it. That is the final answer. Thus, 15w raised to the 8 over 5w is 3w raised to the 7. Moving on to the fourth example, we have negative 5 cubed b raised to the 7, c raised to the 6, over negative 5 squared, b raised to the 4, c raised to 5. As you can see, we have 3 pairs of powers with the same bases again. So the first thing we should do is to group by the common base. The common bases are 5, b, and c. So this is now our expression. Now it's time to subtract the exponents. We will simply subtract the exponents of each pair of powers with the same bases. Remember, it should be the exponent of the numerator minus the exponent of the denominator. After subtracting, we have the expression, the product of negative 5 raised to 1, b cubed, and c raised to 1. And since the value of negative 5 raised to 1 is negative 5, and c raised to 1 can be written as c, our expression will become negative 5b cubed c. And we got the answer to negative 5 cubed, b raised to 7, c raised to 6, all over negative 5 squared, b raised to 4, c raised to 5. The answer is negative 5b cubed c. Practice makes perfect, so let's try practicing more examples. Let's simplify the product of negative 8m cubed and n raised to the 6 over the product of 24m raised to the 8 and n. Look at the coefficients, negative 8 and 24. We can still simplify them, right? To simplify, we will use the GCF of negative 8 and 24, which is 8. So, how do we simplify? Just divide both the numerator, negative 8, and the denominator, 24, by 8, and we will get negative 1 and 3. So, the coefficient will become negative 1/3. Like some of the previous examples, we have pairs of powers with the same bases, so we need to group by common base. Then the expression will be like this. We will treat negative 1/3 as a coefficient. What's next? Well, I'm sure you know. Subtract their exponents. Let's express the expression as the product of negative 1/3 m raised to 3 minus 8 and n raised to 6 minus 1. Subtracting is fun. 3 minus 8 is negative 5, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So the expression is now negative 1/3 times m raised to the negative 5 times n raised to the 5. Just a side note, when a power has a negative exponent, we simply get its reciprocal and change the sign to make the exponent positive. So, m raised to negative 5 is the same as 1 over m raised to 5. We'll just put that in our expression, and we have negative 1/3 times 1 over m raised to 5 times n raised to 5. To get the final answer, we simply need to multiply. Multiplying gives us a product of negative n to the 5 over 3m to the 5. Thus, the product of negative 8m cubed and n raised to the 6 over the product of 24m raised to the 8 and n is negative n raised to the 5 over 3m raised to the 5. Do you want more examples? Well, here's another one. Simplify negative 14x cubed y raised to the 6th z raised to the 4 over negative 28x squared y cubed z cubed. First, get the coefficients and simplify them. We are simplifying as much as possible in order to save some work and to get the simplest possible answer for later on. So, negative 14 and negative 28 are the coefficients. When dividing negative by negative, the answer is positive. So, negative 14 over negative 28 is equal to 1/2. We can now group them by common base. After grouping, we have this expression. Since the bases are already aligned, we just have to separate each pair. And now it's time to subtract the exponents. Just copy the common base and raise it to the difference of their exponents, like this. 3 minus 2 is 1, 6 minus 3 is 3, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Then we will put that in our expression. So the answer is 1/2 x to the 1, y cubed z to the 1. But we can actually disregard the coefficient 1 and the two exponents 1. So the final answer is x y cubed z over 2. Thus, negative 14 x cubed y raised to the 6 z raised to the 4 over negative 28 x squared y cubed z cubed is all equal to x y cubed z over 2. And now we're down to our final example. For the last example, we have the product of negative 2 raised to 4, negative 3 raised to 5, and negative 4 cubed over the product of negative 2, negative 3 cubed, and negative 4 square. Since we already got the hang of simplifying quotient of powers, we will proceed straight to subtracting the exponents. So, write what we are going to subtract. Simplify that by subtracting the exponents of the common bases, and we have the expression negative 2 cubed times negative 3 squared times negative 4 raised to the 1. You know what's next, right? Of course, simplify. First, we'll start with the exponents. After simplifying the exponents, we're left with negative 8 times 9 times negative 4. Now we just need to multiply, and that's it. The product is 288. Thus, the product of negative 2 raised to 4, negative 3 raised to 5, and negative 4 cubed over the product of negative 2, negative 3 cubed, and negative 4 squared is 288. That's all for this presentation. Now you know how to simplify quotient of powers. Always remember, keep solving and use what you've learned today. Thank you.